Dodger Stadium looking gorgeous as ever on this Monday evening. Last night, the Futures game, and tonight, the biggest party of the summer continues. It is day 2 of All-Star Week. It is the Home Run Derby. Derby day across BotBall, and before the top 8 sluggers swing for the fences, we're going to let you know who's headed to tomorrow's All-Star game in a special All-Star break edition of BotBall tonight. As we welcome you into our home studios, Aiden Blank in the official BotBall Tonight studios, Eddie McCarthy in New Jersey. Eddie, you couldn't make it to the studio tonight, I presume?
No, I was not able to get there, and unfortunately the blue walls in my room are not very conducive to the green screen feature on Zoom, so I'm left looking over at a couple of hockey players here while I am absolutely shown up by your professional style setup.
We got a lot to get to. We're going to unveil both lineups featuring pitchers, starters, and the backups, otherwise known as the reserves, as we so nicely call them. And in the All-Star game, they're not really backups. They're just not the starters.
Right.
We'll get through the schedule for later tonight. The Home Run Derby coming up at the top of the hour, and then, of course, some broadcaster tournament games, and we'll also take you through the schedule tomorrow, maybe even some matchups that we're looking forward to watching in that All-Star game. And we're going to get right into it because we don't have a ton of time, so let's do it. We start with the schedule for tonight, and it begins with, of course, the Home Run Derby, 8 o'clock. Beardy Buddha, Brother Beard, PK, and J-Man 1993 are on the call. Then 10 o'clock, it's the Broadcasters Tournament, first of a doubleheader tonight. Jeremy Goldstein versus D. Wilkes. I'll have the call with P. Meister. And then at 11 o'clock, we'll finish out our All-Star game, our what would it be called? Derby Day broadcaster tournament slate. Michael Memis versus Tim Moore. Justin Rock will have the call. So a very exciting schedule for the rest of the day. And that kind of brings us to the main goal of this, which is, an All-Star selection show. We should probably select those All-Stars, Eddie.
Yeah, it's a very interesting week of BotBall. It's not exactly what we're used to. We don't have the 7 games per day because there's a break in the action right now, but rest assured, I think we got a bunch of minor league All-Star games coming up. We'll have the Derby tonight, the All-Star game tomorrow, and we got the broadcaster tournament, Aiden. So while we may not have baseball that counts, we certainly have entertainment.
All right, so we're set to unveil these All-Star lineups. We'll start with the pitchers, then the reserves, and then the starting lineups. And our first unveiling would be the starting pitching matchup. Eddie, that'll be It'll be the guy from Chicago, Jose Quintana, going up against Hyunjin Ryu from the Toronto Blue Jays. Very interesting that Ryu is going to start in back-to-back All-Star games for different teams. Last year, as a member of the Dodgers, started for the National League, and this year as a member of the Blue Jays, gets the ball for the American League.
Well, it's an interesting matchup on both sides of the coin. I'm not sure, but I can't recall off the top of my head the last time that we saw 2 lefties going at it in the All-Star game. And Hyunjin Ryu has been topping the American League pitching charts all year. Him and Ryan Yarbrough was touch and go. We thought it could go either way. Ryu will get the nod, and it's well-deserved. He's been terrific on the year. And then on the other side, Aiden, it's Jose Quintana, the former White Sox, and this guy has kind of come out of nowhere this year. 31 years old. This is only his second All-Star game. He was selected to the team for the first time in 2016, but 8-3, a 2.17 ERA. He's the National League ERA leader. He is having an outstanding year over there in Chicago for the Cubs.
Yeah, he certainly is, and we are ready to go. We know that one of the members of this NL starting pitching lineup, which would be Jose Quintana. Why don't you take us through the rest of it?
Well, Quintana will be followed up by as far as the starters are concerned, and you'll know how this goes by now. The starters usually will get work innings 1 through 5. Sometimes the original starter, I should say, will go 2 innings, but it's going to be 1-2 for Quintana, and then they'll split probably 1 the rest of the way. 2 Dodgers, Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw. Walker Buehler, back-to-back All-Star games for him. Clayton Kershaw, no stranger to the event. This will be his 9th. And then you have 2 guys who haven't been there in a while. Luis Castillo, he was an all-star last year, back-to-back all-star games for him, but before that, never before, so he continues his strong play. And then Madison Bumgarner, who has been absolutely tearing it up for the D-backs. But this is his first all-star appearance since 2016. He's 12-4, a 2.49 on the year. That's good enough for the National League wins leader with 12. The NL, their starting pitching, as far as the front end is concerned, hard to argue with. Pretty good.
Let's take you through the rest of that National League lineup. And Eddie, those reserves may be just as strong as the starters.
Yeah, as you know, the All-Star game always carries lots of reserves. It's not the typical 4 or 5-man bench. We'll start it off. Wilson Ramos from the Mets, their catcher. He's the only New York Met on the All-Star team. He'll be accompanied by JT Realmuto, the other catcher. Then you got Josh Bell of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Jurickson Profar from the Padres, the Cardinals' Paul Dejong. Johnathan Villar is the only Miami Marlin who will be going to Chavez Ravine. Evan Longoria, first All-Star game with the Giants. Juan Soto, who was a bit of a surprise not going to be starting, will be on the bench to start the day. And then rounding out the squad, Kyle Schwarber of the Cubs, Adam Eaton, another national. That'll be a common theme. Lots of Washington guys in the All-Star game tomorrow night. And, of course, Lorenzo Cain, the Brewer center fielder.
Well, that brings us to the final group of National League players and National League team members. A lot of nationals on this starting lineup.
Lots of nationals on the starting lineup, and this is kind of the moment we've all been waiting for, so we will unveil the starters. No surprise, Trea Turner leads off from the Nationals at shortstop. This is actually his first All-Star game of his career. Currently the National League leader in stolen bases. He's got 31 already. That leads, I believe, by 10. Ketel Marte, if memory serves me correct, has 21 in the 2 spot. Mookie Betts will hit second and play right field from the Dodgers. His first year with Los Angeles, but his 5th straight All-Star game. He's been terrific. Christian Yelich bats third. He's out in left. The National League home run leader with 29. He'll be in the home run derby tonight. We'll talk more about him a little bit later. This is his 3rd straight All-Star game. Eugenio Suarez will bat cleanup, and he'll be tonight's designated hitter. Back-to-back All-Star games for him. He was an All-Star in 2018, took a year off last year, back in front of baseball's brightest lights tomorrow night. Nolan Arenado in the 5 spot. This guy is just terrific. Gold Glover 7 years running. This is his 6th straight All-Star game. He bats 5th, of course, playing 3rd. Ketel Marte, who we talked about a couple of seconds ago, he's at 2nd tonight, batting 6th. Back-to-back All-Star games for him. And then 7, 8, 9, it's heavy on the National League East. Ronald Acuna hits 7th and plays center field. He was the stolen base leader last year, also playing in his 2nd straight All-Star game. Freddie Freeman batting in the 8th spot, so they go Braves back-to-back. Acuna hits 7th, Freeman hits 8th. He plays first, his third straight All-Star game, 5th in his career. And then rounding out the order, the first-time All-Star and the catcher, Kurt Suzuki, a Hawaiian native, second time All-Star, I should say, but his first appearance in the All-Star game since 2014.
All right, so we took a look at the National League. We know one member of the American League, that's Hyunjin Ryu. He will start for the Blue Jays. Let's take a look at the rest of that American League pitching rotation. The rest of the starters, Ryan Yarborough out of Tampa Bay. Kenta Maeda, first start, not his first start in the All-Star game, but first start as a member of the American League. He will pitch out of the Minnesota Twins. Then it's Zach Plesac, the Cleveland Indian, and Garrett Cole, as expected, the Yankee. Not his first All-Star start, but his first with the Yankees. In the bullpen, Tyler Duffy, Nick Anderson, and Brad Hand from the Twins, Rays, and Indians, respectively. Taylor Rogers, another Twin. They have the most players in this game with 7. One more than the Washington Nationals. Jason Leclerc is the Lone Ranger. I know our good friend and MLBotball member Mike Koski will be happy to see a Ranger face in there. Jason Leclerc out of the bullpen, the only Ranger that is on his way to Chavez Ravine. Liam Hendrick, the lone Oakland A pitcher that is headed off to Dodger Stadium, and Ken Giles will round out the order as the pitcher for Toronto.
Aiden, let me stop you real fast. I just realized that I forgot to give everybody the National League bullpen. We gave you the starters. We didn't give you the bullpen guys. The National League will go heavy on closers. Everybody except for Austin Voth has experience closing games. Austin Voth for the Nationals, his first All-Star game. He'll be one of 6 Nats playing in the contest on Tuesday night. Hector Neris gets the nod from Philadelphia, second in saves this year with 30, his first time in the All-Star game. Sean Doolittle will make his 3rd appearance, also from the Nationals. Currently the National League save leader, he's got 32. Will Smith, the Braves closer, 25 saves for him on the year. All-Star 2 years in a row now. Giovanni Gallegos of the St. Louis Cardinals. This is his 4th year in the majors, first time he is an All-Star. He's been one of the few bright spots on what's been a pretty rough season for the Cardinals out there at Busch Stadium. Kirby Yates from the Padres will go to the game for the first time as a member of the National League. He was an All-Star last year playing for the Rays, and the saves leader last year in all of Major League Baseball. He'd have 41. And, of course, this guy has been He's been an all-star for a while. He's somebody we expect to see in the game in the past couple of years. That's Kenley Jansen, who's back in the game after missing last year. Before that, an all-star 2016, 17, and 18. He's from the Dodgers, the 3rd of 3 Dodgers who will be in the contest on Tuesday night.
All right, well, we were going through the American League lineup before we were so rudely interrupted by Eddie. But, hey, you got that National League bullpen. Let's go to the American League reserves. Jorge Soler out of the Kansas City Royals. He'll be the lone Royal in Los Angeles. Christian Vasquez, full-time member of the Boston Red Sox, also the lone member from his team, headed to L.A. You got 2 Mariners, good for the 2 Beards to see. Tom Murphy is one of them. He'll be the lone reserve out of Seattle. C.J. Cron, the lone Tiger, is in the reserves. Hanser Alberto, the lone Oriole. And then you get to the Twins. They just are stacked with Jorge Polanco. Gleyber Torres out of the Yankees. He is the lone Yankee on the reserves, not the only Yankee, one of 4 Yankees that is on his way to Chavez Ravine. Carlos Santana, the only Indian that's in the reserves, but again, not the only Indian that is on this team. Eddie Rosario, Nelson Cruz, both Twins. Really could start both of them, but they'll get sat on the bench to start the game. And again, most of these guys, if not all, will get into the game. And Chris Davis rounds out the reserves order from the Oakland Athletics. So, we met those reserves. We met the pitchers. Let's meet the starters. And we know that Cookie is getting ready to channel his inner Joe Buck and announce them to you tomorrow night with the public address. But for now, we'll let you know who they are in a little bit of a less dramatic tone. DJ LeMahieu, as expected, from the Yankees. It is his 2nd start, if I can recall, as an all-star for the American League. Obviously, he started for the National League before, but he is a Yankee, and he will lead off. Then Anthony Rendon, his first American League all-star start. He'll play for the Angels. A pair of LA guys, Rendon and then Mike Trout, going 2 and 3, both from the Angels for the American League. Yordan Alvarez from the red-hot Houston Astros is hitting cleanup. Then it's another Yankee, Giancarlo Stanton. He'll be the final Yankee that we let you know about today. He'll hit 5th instead of the usual 4th. Alex Bregman right after him, the 5-hitter from the Astros. Then Mitch Garver, the twin. Marcus Semien from the A's. And Edwin Encarnacion, one of 2 Mariners that is in that final 9 spot for the American League. So we know the rosters now, Eddie. They've been officially unveiled, and we'll get to who's going to call this game in just a little bit. But first of all, your first impressions of these rosters and which matchups are you looking forward to seeing the most?
Well, Mike Trout is in the 3 spot, and stop me if that sounds familiar. It seems that's where he's been pretty much able to park himself for, the last 6-7 years running. But no, really excited. As I think both Aiden and I were, when we were reading out the teams, you can see there are a couple of first-time guys who will be experiencing the All-Star game and the All-Star weekend, the whole festivities, the whole shindig for the first time. which is always great to see. You got some really good pitching, I think, on the National League side. I'm really looking forward to see. For me, it's the two left-handers, and that's Clayton, Kershaw, Madison, Bumgarner. How are they going to attack what is a very loaded American League lineup? I think they'll enjoy lots of success. And I'm also really excited for Jose Quintana, who's back in the game, as I said, for the first time since 2016. 31 years old. He's kind of flown under the radar, but he was terrific this year. He earned the start. He earned the game, and I'm excited to see what he does with the opportunity.
Yeah, he'll throw for the National League. He'll get the start. I believe it's his first career start in an All-Star game. Hey, we know about the All-Star game. Let's get to what else is tomorrow. 2 broadcaster tournament games, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I know Big Fund is in one of them. I believe Cookie Eater is in the other. And then the All-Star game. It's been announced already, but if you weren't in the Discord, Duggo, Cookie Eater, and Jake Dean are going to call the first 5 innings 1 through 5, and then Big Fund, Mike A, and the Jinx will take over after that. And then...
And hold on. I believe we're going to have special guest Shark Shavery perform an extra special rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game, an all-star version of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. The best organist on Twitch, and we're lucky enough to call him ours here on Major League Baseball.
How could we forget? He'll jump in with Big Fund, Mike A, and the Jinx in the 7th. There will be 2 broadcaster tournament games, 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. The guys that have buys in the first round will start their play tomorrow. Those that are playing in the first round will play later today. That basically does it. Enjoy the home run derby. I know Beardy Buddha and Brother Beard are certainly ready. PK and J-Man 1993 are getting ready to call it. Why don't we send it out to Chavez Ravine? We had a great call there last night, Eddie, and no doubt they will tonight. Enjoy the home run derby. Enjoy the All-Star festivities, and we will see you on Sunday for another weekly preview of MLBotball. This has been Botball Tonight for Eddie McCarthy. I'm Aiden Blank. Enjoy the derby. Enjoy the All-Star game. Have a great rest of your All-Star break, everybody.